All right. What I'm doing is swapping out the alternator, and I've heard people do it where you can pull the axle out. I prefer not to do that. I'm going to pull it out the top. I've done them that way already before. The first thing you want to do is disconnect your battery, which it's actually a little hard here in this one because the battery is located in the trunk, which we've already disconnected that. Okay. This also had a strut bar, so if you have one of those, remove it. Unbolt your coil pack. I'll get that out of the way. Now, your alternator is actually down here. There should be a heat shield on top of that, which there is not on this one. I actually have it unplugged, and I have the nut removed off the back of the alternator, which is a 13 mil right here. Okay, there's where the plug is. This one here is good. It's a used one. We're just swapping it on here because this one here is no good. I believe it was because it's been run so long without a heat shield. So for some reason it's putting extra load, making the belt squeal. I don't know. I think bearings or something might be bad in it. But we're swapping it out. Now, on the top, there is a 15 millimeter nut right here that runs through. I loosen that, get it off. Okay, right there. Now there's a tensioner piece here. I loosen that so that I can get the belt off. Then there's also one down here in the bottom. Hopefully the screen picks it up. That's pretty dark. Right in here is the bottom of the alternator bolt. It's right here. My finger's behind the belt, you can see it. But right here on the bottom of the alternator, that one's 15. So we're going to want to remove that one entirely all the way also. And that will loosen the belt. Get it so we can loosen the belt. Then I'll pop the lower part of the alternator off, and then I'll pull it this way a little bit. And then I'm going to lift it up out the top. I'm going to remove the overflow and more than most likely the alternator, or not the alternator, the valve cover, so that I can fit the alternator up out through here. It's been a while since I've done one of these, but I think that's what I got to do. All right, I just removed the coolant out of the way, coolant bottle out of the way. It's up here. I have both bolts out of the alternator. The lower bolt goes through like this, all right, and then it has like a nut with a bar on it to keep it from spinning. Now, it has this sleeve in here, which when you tighten this up moves in right there just a little bit, and then that makes this area tight. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here with a pry bar, and I'm just going to hit this and pop it back off up in there. I'll grab a light, show you too. Okay, you can see where I took the nut out. You usually see the whole alternator. So come in here with a pry bar. Looks like this is going to be a two-hander. Giving it a tap with a long pry bar and a little hammer, and actually pushed it off. Like I said, that sleeve right there does get it kind of tight because it'll actually move in there. So what I'll probably do is I'll tap on that just a little bit, or push it out just some, so that it slides on a little bit easier when I'm reinstalling this. It's not really something you have to worry about when you're out of the car, but when you're in the car, it kind of is. Okay. Okay, so pretty much I'll be pulling the valve cover off. As you can see, right here is our alternator. If you want to drop it, you can just drop it. Didn't hurt nothing. If you pull the axle out down here in the intermediate, I think you can pull the power steering cooler out of the way and actually get down through there. Like I said, I've only ever changed these through the top. I don't know what it would be like if you had to do it with a big turbo. Would not be fun. So I'm just going to pop the bolts out of my valve cover. I just did this gasket, so it'll be plenty reusable. I'll just have to reseal all my edges with silicone. No big deal. So yeah, I'm going to get this thing off of here. All right, easy and easy. Got it off. Got to clean a little bit more here out of the, just get everything cleaned up before I put it back together. But reach right down in here, grab your alternator. Getting caught on some of these wires that are there for that. All right, here we go. Look, alternator out. All right, so pretty much the same deal. I'm just going to set the alternator down in. I'll put the valve cover back on, that way I'm not trying to reach down in here or chance in getting anything down into the on the valve cover here. Minus a couple small pet hair that I have on my sweatshirt. So we're going to do that. Like I said, I'm going to tap that. I'll tap that little sleeve out a little bit on the alternator, and then I'll get it set down in there. I'll get the top on, and then I'll slide it over. Just get all my bolts started and put everything back together. Right, we got the valve cover back on. The alternator was down in. What I did, you could reach down over the top and try to get on this, but I was able to reach my hand through here and up through there, and I got it hung on the top bolt, then slid it over the bracket. Like I said, I was knocking that collar out, so it went on there pretty good. Little loose, okay. And then I have the right bolt in there. If you have the wrong bolt that's too small, I've seen them actually wear into the aluminum on the case of the alternator and the bracket and cause damage in both places. So make sure that you have the right diameter bolt in there, and it is tight. Now everything is connected. As you can tell, that cover looks like it's had some heat on that other alternator, and the clip seems to be okay. Everything seems to go together all right. You can still see a bunch of oil down in there. I did a lot of cleaning on this car already. If you wanted to know what the heat shield looks like, I have a motor sitting here. All right, now this is what the heat shield should look like. It has a number on it, stamp. Okay, so I can set this here. Check this out. All right, now heat shield has a there's a nut down here on the lower part of the bracket. So these are your wires, they get connected. Goes over top. Nut holds it in place on the bottom. Okay, looks like there's a fusible link right here, maybe. Never really noticed that in the harness. And then up top, there's two small bolts. They go through these two holes. They're 10s. You'll be able to see this if you have this from the top. And then, like I said, I tightened this down to pull that collar in, okay? Then I loosened it, and with this one tightened in snug, almost all the way loose, I got my tension set where you can just push on the belt a little bit and it moves a little bit. Then I tightened this and it's all locked in. So our alternator is completely installed with our belt on it. Right here, push on this just a little bit, you know, same like this here. Just a little loose, not too tight, all right? And then I'm down to, since everything else is reinstalled, all I gotta do is reinstall this and the coil and just plug that stuff in, and that's the alternator. In and out pretty quick. It's not too hard that way. You can jack the car, put it on jack stands, and then, you know, pull everything off. If you need to do your valve cover gasket, it's an opportune time to do it. Just make sure if you pull your overflow off and it's full of fluid, you don't set it away that the coolant's going to run out, because you don't want to make any more of a mess than what you already got going It'd probably be a good time to replace your belt. Very rarely do these alternators ever go bad. I do really think that that one was probably a failure not having the heat shield on it. It just, you know, the alternator builds heat when you're pulling current from it, and you know, when you got heat coming right off the manifold and the exhaust right there and the O2 housings, everything's right there. Even just that little shield that's in between there really does help. The fact that there's no shielding on the manifold itself either anymore, you know, that kind of consults an issue too. So I'm going to get the coolant overflow bottle back on this thing, and that's pretty much how you get an alternator on, guys. See yous.